Rob, we're live on YouTube for the first time ever.
Right, it's literally my first time ever. I've never been live on the YouTubes before.
Yeah, there's probably a couple of things we should say. The first thing is apologies for not being around for the last 3 weeks, which I think we started the last podcast with as well, because this summer's been fairly dreadful in terms of consistency. The thing that I make my living on, I've been fairly dreadful, and we'll blame me for this because I've been all over the place and it's been a bit crazy. But yeah, we've been a bit bitty with the episodes this summer, haven't we? And one big change we have made is that we're going live now on YouTube rather than having a pre-recorded. There'll still be a pre-recorded audio version, that doesn't change at all, but the video is going to be this, it's going to be live. The only slight issue with that is that it's 10 a.m. in the UK and everyone's asleep in the US still.
Yeah,
so
we're going to review that. So, I mean, certainly Nick, our friend Canadian Nick, he was like, oh no, 10 a.m, that's no good. Can you make it later?
We may have to, might we? Perhaps we'll speak off camera behind the scenes and see what we can do, because it would be nice to get some people.
Normally this is resolved in post, isn't it?
Now you just got a green background.
Now I've just got a green background, which is about as amateurish as it gets. Hold on, let me see if I can get OBS to chroma key me something else in. Hold on.
I'm also fairly sure that my internet connection is awful, so if I'm jittery and 8-bit, then that's the reason. But we'll fix that as well.
You have gone 8-bit.
Quite like that though. We've also got no one watching. I don't think anyone's tuned in, which is absolutely no surprise and kind of confirms our suspicion that at 10 o'clock in the morning, no one's awake, apart from... In fact, people are awake, but they're at work. People have got jobs. That's better.
How's that?
Yeah, I like that. Looks very smart.
So, this is going to take some getting used to, because normally I can, hide behind the edit, and so if I'm like picking my nose or something, it's not going to go out. But now I've got to be mindful of my bad habits and that.
Yeah. There's a reason this isn't on the main channel. Don't want to get taken down through one of us saying something horrendous, which can happen sometimes. So this is completely unedited. This is now what you get is what you hear, and what you see is what you get. Lots to talk about.
I think if it gains traction with some audience interaction and so forth, I think this could be quite fun. I'd say it's certainly
that's the
learning curve.
Absolutely. We want people to come on and ask questions and stuff. We can actually bring them in, so that's quite exciting. So yeah, if you're listening to this in the future and you live in the UK and we keep it for 10 o'clock for the time being, then get involved. Right, stuff. There's lots of stuff on this list. Where do we start? There's an obvious thing that's happened, isn't there, which we'll probably spend a fair amount of time on, which we'll come on to in a second. But what else can we talk about before we talk about iPhones and AirPods Max and stuff?
Oh, I'm just wondering, actually, if the reason we haven't got any people, have you pinged anyone on the Discord?
No. we haven't told anyone, have we?
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Let's do that.
Let's do that. We have got 146 subscribers. I would have thought some of them might have come on, but
Oh no, it's more than that. It's 100.
Oh, is it?
67, I think now. Yeah. Hang on, everyone. We
Weeds
are
out the true fans
live
list,
on the YouTubes. How exciting! Do we even know what is even the link? So the YouTube's at 8 or 16, isn't it?
That's the one.
Live.
This is great for the audio viewers. Someone's come on. We've got one viewer.
Right.
Make yourself known. Who's watching? Oh, they've gone.
This is by using everyone. You're about to mention 200 people. Yes.
Go for it. Do it. Absolutely do it.
There we go. Oh, good. And we're both put in the thumbnail. I'm putting a derpy face as usual. Marvelous. Right. Let's close down the Discord. See what's going on. So we've got one viewer.
What? They've gone. They were there.
Oh, no, they came and they went. Good.
Yeah, they came and thought this is terrible. We've got two now. Two, come on. This is exciting. This is really exciting if you're listening to this on the treadmill. I'm sure. Apologies.
Two blokes being really bad at live streaming. Brilliant.
That's what this is all about.
Okay.
What should we talk about?
Well, let's talk about where you've been, because, as you said, you had a really busy summer, which has meant that this has had to get sidelined for the time being, because you just keep not being in the country.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's been crazy. I went to China for the second time this year.
And who was that with?
That was with HUAWEI.
Wow. Oh, did you see
And
the triple bendy phone?
I did see the triple bendy phone. I did indeed. Very interesting. What do you think about that?
I think it's really annoying because I've pre-ordered a Magic V3, which is just
So I
his old
hear.
hat now, isn't it?
That's old news, isn't it? It's a lot cheaper than the trifold.
Yeah, well, that's about $3,000. I think it works out at, isn't it?
A lot of money. Looks very cool though, doesn't it?
Well,
Very interesting.
well, the problem with using a Huawei phone is that you can't get the googly anything on it, can you?
You can't. They're very tricky to get working in this country. You can. There's ways around it. Absolutely.
It's
But
janky though. Well, and
it's a bit
well,
janky.
from later this year, there won't be any Android AOSP code in their operating system at all.
No.
I presume, I don't know. I'm probably, you know this already. Presumably, they would have shown you Harmony OS next.
Maybe, maybe not.
All right, you can't. Possibly. Okay. Well, so I mean, for those of us who aren't embargoed, just read the internet. We do, you know, they have got a new version of their Harmony OS, which is completely separate from Android. It's got no Android code in it. It won't run APKs. Developers will have to, you know, re-engineer their apps to run on. I mean, it's still, you know, a Linux-based mobile operating system, but it's just completely divorced from Android in every way. So I mean, aside from the fact that it's $3,000, I have enough trouble with getting on with Android as it is without like trying to use some bonky knockoff. But it is very cool technology, so you know, I'm pleased that it exists. But yeah, I can't see myself ever getting one of those. So it's the HUAWEI Mate XT, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the official name.
Did they show off anything else fun? Or was that the big event? Was the triple bendy phone?
I wasn't there for that. I was there for again 2 things that I can't talk about now until next week, and in fact 3 things I can't talk about because they're all embargoed. But it was new stuff. But it wasn't the trifold. It was something else.
Okay, cool.
Good
Right,
new
so you went to
stuff, good new
China.
stuff. Went to China. It was the
Huawei.
hottest place in the universe. I've never been anywhere as hot as that ever. And we went to play golf at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've never sweated so much in my entire life. It was
Was that put on by them, or was that just a YouTuber jolly with your?
Oh no, it was put on by them. There's no way I'd have gone to play golf in that weather off my own back. It was ridiculous. So hot.
Was there anyone else off your famous WhatsApp group there?
Not from the WhatsApp group, no. No, it was mainly press guys this time. It was a bit of a funny date because it was over the bank holiday weekend. I had to abandon a family holiday to go to China, which was a shame. Good, but also a shame, obviously. But yeah, honestly, it was like 95% humidity. It's like walking into an oven as soon as you left any kind of air-conditioned building. So that was interesting. But I do love China. It's an amazing place.
Last time you went to Honours campus, didn't you?
No, it's been Huawei both times.
Well, so
Yeah,
it's Huawei with the just the mental head office.
Crazy, yeah, incredible place. Yeah, where they've kind of they've got a campus where they've rebuilt most of Europe for their staff to go and do their thing, and it's just like walking around France, and you go into Germany, and you go into Spain and Italy. It's incredible. That's just one of their buildings.
What gear did you take? Because I've noticed you're gravitating more towards sort of ease of use, convenience, practicality, whereas before you would have taken your whole studio in a backpack. Now you tend to take more sensible things. What was the kit this time around?
I didn't take a MacBook. I only took the 11-inch iPad Pro, which was a good idea in the end because I didn't need the MacBook at all. That was joyful in terms of just walking around with that. But I did take the camera. I took the big camera because I needed to do some filming while I was there. I wouldn't normally have done that. It was only because there was a thing that I had to do which demanded a bigger camera. But it was if that wasn't the case, I'd have travelled even lighter. Camera, they're so heavy. Just having that in your backpack is a real pain. But I had no choice this time.
But for vlogging, you have switched from an action cam to a DJI Pocket now, is it?
I have, which isn't in here annoyingly. It's at home. But yeah, I've gone for the Pocket 3. A very quick story about that. Being in China, I thought, let's give it a go. It's made in China. That's where DJI are based. Surely there's going to be lots of them over there because they're quite hard to get at the moment. So on the day that we had free, we went to a big mall and found the DJI shop in there. Found the Pocket 3, and for anyone who doesn't know, this is basically a handheld camera, which looks a little bit like a gimbal and camera system from a drone, but it's on a stick. Have you got one?
I think I've got one knocking around.
Got the old one.
Here we go. Yeah, no, I'm well into the Pocket ecosystem. I've got
I remember now.
the like ND filters. I've got a stick that's got controls built into it.
Nice. They're brilliant. There's great little gimbal camera, very portable.
This battery case is lovely. It's got like a little knob that you press, and then it just slides round. It's awesome. Yeah, really sci-fi. So yeah, I can't believe anyone watching this wouldn't know what a DJI Pocket looks like. But this is an OG. It's still going.
It's still doing.
So, yeah, it's just got a little gimbal on it, and it's a delightful thing to use.
It's brilliant. It's lovely stabilized footage, and everyone in YouTube land has got one. I think I was the last person to get one, basically. But anyway, back to China. We got there, found this store, and found it. Did some research on the price, and it worked out roughly 200 quid cheaper if I'd bought it over there. The warranty wasn't an issue. I could get the what's it called, the refresh thing, where you get like 4 replacements over 2 years, and that was cheaper as well. All ready to buy it, and they had no stock. So I said to the lady in the shop, is there anywhere else we can go, any of the stores? And she said, no stock in all of China. So, okay, great. The only place I could find it at the very same time, I went onto my phone, was Argos in Leamington Spa. They had it.
They are brilliant, Argos. I do love
Argos. Is just, we've talked about Argos before on here, and only UK listeners and viewers will know what that is, but Argos once again came to the rescue. So got back from China, went straight to Argos on the Saturday, picked it up, and yeah, it's brilliant. It's not perfect. There are some issues. It's not as because I was using an action cam before, which you can just chuck around and not worry about. It's not quite as robust. It feels more flimsy than that, even though it's not particularly flimsy. I'm holding it a bit more with kind of kid gloves. It's not waterproof, which is a shame. It takes some getting used to in terms of framing yourself. It's got like a face tracking thing where you move around and the gimbal swings around and follows you. That is a little bit off-putting, I think. I've had a couple of comments from people saying that's a little bit too much. But keeping yourself in the frame when you're kind of moving it around isn't as easy as an action cam, because you've got control over the framing, whereas you have to wait for the gimbal to center it, all that sort of stuff. But the image quality is head and shoulders above, and it's fun to use. It's more fun to use than the action cam, to be honest. That's a big part of it.
I mean, I think the framing issue is the lesser of the two evils versus the weird stabilization of the action cam. So in your vlogs where you're using the action cam and you're putting it down or picking it up, it's kind of
it starts moving before I pick it up, or it looks like it does.
And it made me feel quite ill, if I'm honest. Just that the sort of just motion. So I think the Pocket is the way to go.
I agree.
I'm a big fan of that device anyway. So where else have you been then? So you went to China, you saw a bunch of stuff you can't talk about, did a bunch of stuff you can't talk about. Where else have you been?
Went to IFA, where I can talk about it, but it's not that exciting. IFA is like CES, but it's the European version of it. Nowhere near as big as CES, but it's still a pretty big tech show with all the big boys there. And it, again, really hot. I don't know. Everywhere has been really hot. I don't remember Berlin being that hot last year, but this year it was absolutely sweltering. And IFA itself was pretty interesting. It was quite a tiring trip, just because I'd had that China trip right before it as well. But I took Niall on this one, so Niall came along, and that made a massive difference because I just got him to do everything. No, he did stuff and I did stuff, but we kind of double teamed it, which was great. There wasn't, in terms of what I saw, because I know your next question will be what did I see there, and there wasn't that much of interest really. A lot of it felt like CES rehashed, less some of this stupid AI stuff that's since come and gone bankrupt since then. Nothing outrageous really. There was a flying car which I didn't see flying, and who cares?
On the subject of flying things, was the DJI Neo not there?
That was there, yeah. Didn't get to play with it, but picked it up and it looks very cool. Did you say you've ordered one?
I haven't ordered one, no. But
I think so.
if I were going to order a lightweight drone, I think that is definitely the gateway drug for getting into drones, isn't it?
Yeah, although, do you remember Andy from Pulse 8 Video, who I had on the channel ages ago about this? Yeah, the studio, the Mac Studio. He's now started a channel where he's reviewing camera gear and stuff. And he's I don't think he's published it yet, but they're doing a review of the Neo, and he's not very impressed. He even messaged me to say he's really disappointed. He didn't tell me why, so I don't know what the reason is. But
well, I had heard that the footage is a bit hit or miss, but I still reckon it would knock. So I mean, last year it was the HUAWEI X1 was all the rage, wasn't it? That one that looked like a milk crate.
The HUAWEI Air.
Yeah, HUAWEI X1 by Zero. And I mean, that was a super cool thing. So that's a drone that just takes off from your palm, lands on your palm, follows you around. But the camera was rubbish. But it had full coverage for the rotors. So it was pretty sturdy and robust. And this seems like DJI's take on that, but it's very DJI, isn't it? It's really streamlined and sleek. It looks cool, and I'm sure it works. Well, I mean, the other benefit of it being in the DJI ecosystem is that, so you can just press a button, have it hover, and it'll follow you around without you needing to do anything. So no app, no controller, no headset, none of that. But you can also use it with those things if you want to, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's got a control. Yeah.
But yeah, I've also heard from various people who've got one already that the footage can either be okay or terrible. But yeah, I've not heard anything else bad about it. It does what it's supposed to do, and I think it's the least worst example of these really tiny autonomous drones that will just follow you around and take reasonable footage. But you had a HUAWEI Air at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, we've used it a fair bit. Well, not fair, but we've used it occasionally. I think Niall used it when we did a review of the latest Shocks headphones. I don't know if you saw that, but Niall's in that video, and there's a bit of him on the track. That was shot with the HUAWEI Air, and it looks alright. I mean, like you said, the footage isn't fantastic, but for YouTube, it's absolutely fine. Scales down perfectly for that. But I think the thing with the DJI Neo is the price. It's 170 quid, which is a bit of a no-brainer, I think, for a DJI device, which normally you spend an awful lot more money on. They're not cheap DJI things. I think they've got the price bang on. I think it's one of those kind of fairly insta purchases for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I mean, I probably would have got one, but I've just pre-ordered a Magic V3. I'm still umming and ahhing about whether or not I'm going to pull the trigger on something else that we'll talk about in a bit.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I think for the money, it's fine.
Yeah, I think so. Do we talk about Apple now?
If you like. Well, we didn't really cover EFA, did we? I suppose that because there wasn't really anything to talk about.
Yeah, there's not much.
Although you did meet up with some people there, because I can't remember, probably on your Instagram or something. I saw a picture. Who were you? You were with Alex Gear and Tech, Pete Matheson, Patty Rambles. Who else was there? A couple of other folks.
This is E. If anyone's seen E, this is E's channel. He was there, lovely guy. First time I met him. Who else? I think that was it, wasn't it? Obviously Niall was there as well. But that was it. To be honest, that's the best part of these things, meeting up with those guys. It's lovely to have a good chat and just chill out and share stories and moan about stuff, and you can imagine what we talk about. So that was the highlight.
Did you see any other big names in the tech YouTube space? I mean, I think they tend to send minions to EFA, don't they?
No, they don't. They're all there.
Are they?
Yeah, Tom was there. Tom Tech Chat was there. Bumped into him a couple of times. Adam Asbit, had a good chat with him at one point. Who else? Oh, Ben, Lover of Tech, was there. Yeah, most people tend to go to it. I think it's like I say, it is seen as the kind of CES the kind of European CES. I think it's worth going to for that. Most people, including myself, we have jobs there, so you get paid by a brand to do something while you're there. Excuse me, which makes it worthwhile. But the show itself, I mean, it was packed, and it's unlike CES, it is open to the public. So you have the press days for about 2 or 3 days beforehand, and then it opens to everyone. And it was absolutely rammed on the Friday and the Saturday actually. full of people, kids, families, and stuff. And for them, I guess for a lot of those people, they haven't seen a lot of this tech all in one place. There's all the new TVs, all the Google was there, so you could get your hands on the Fold and all that stuff. You get your hands on the V3. Honor had a great big stand, and I guess for regular consumers, it's quite interesting. I think in our industry, we've seen all this stuff already. Samsung had a big press conference, and it was pretty much what we saw at CES, if not before. So it's and in fairness to those brands, it's timed a bit oddly, because it's not really during release season, and it's just before the iPhone comes out as well, which then takes all of the limelight. That happened on Monday, which was halfway through the public opening of IFA. So it's a curious timing, I think.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's your excuse for not doing this for the last 3 weeks. But luckily, we've got something interesting to talk about, kind of, because there was a big Apple event this week. What did you think? Oh well, actually, I know what you think, really, because you did a live reaction for a good 90 minutes with about 500 people all asking you questions.
Yeah, thank you to anyone who came on that. It was a record in terms of the people who joined. It was incredible. It always amazes me that that many people tune in to hear me ramble on about an event that's just happened. But what do I think about it? One massive disappointment, which I still can't quite get my head around, and I'm not alone with this. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. We'll start here because it's the big topic, and it's resulted in one of the biggest videos that we've made this year in terms of 2-day performance, and it's about these. It's about the AirPods Max. So there's been loads of rumours about this, and I think I was probably guilty of just putting my head in the sand a bit and thinking, nah, that can't be true. But all the rumours were about the fact that all we were going to see in terms of an update was a switch from Lightning to USB-C and then just some refreshed colours, nothing else. That's exactly what they did. But to compound matters and to make it even more completely unfathomable is the fact that they updated the AirPods to AirPods 4, and they've done some really cool stuff with AirPods Pro in terms of hearing health. And that means there's a H2 chip in their in-ears, in the cheapest in-ears you can get from Apple. There's not a H2 chip in the new in inverted commas AirPods Pro. AirPods Max. They still have the H1 chip that is in this pair that I'm holding now, which are nearly 4 years old, which I think is completely unforgivable, and I cannot get my head around it. And if you look at, I think the video that we've made about this has had many hundreds of comments, and most of them are from people saying, why didn't they at least put the new chip in there? Presumably doesn't require any redesign. Just take the old one out, Tim, put the new one in. But they didn't, and we're left with this kind of very tepid update, which is still the same price, still has the same design issues. Like the canopy on mine has kind of gone very floppy, and a few people have commented that theirs has done the same thing. There's the condensation issue, which I'm still not convinced is an issue, but a lot of people have had issues with that in terms of having to send them back. And all we've got is USB-C and fresh colours which match some of the Macs, and it's really baffling what they've done with this. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, it's a rubbish update, isn't it? So, as well as still having H1 and not having all the benefits that come with H2, so the improved noise cancellation and the adaptive transparency and all of that good stuff, I'm pretty sure the AirPods 4 have got U1 as well for Find My.
Yes, I think they have. Yeah, they've got all that stuff, haven't they? Yep.
So, yeah. So USB-C, that's a good thing. New colours. Well, so I mean, if you already have some AirPods Max and you want to sort of freshen up the look a bit, you can buy the new colour ear cups, because if you've had AirPods Max since they came out, they're probably looking a bit ropey now. And yeah, so you could zhuzh them up a bit with a fresh new set of ear pads for 70 quid, which is silly money, but it's less than 500 quid for a new...
500 quid, yeah.
Although, yeah, I mean, if you've got 500 quid to spend on headphones, you shouldn't be spending it on AirPods Max in 2024. No way.
This is the problem. That's the problem, isn't it? There's so much competition, and all of it is better, I think, in a number of ways, and more up to date, and better case, and all that stuff. And unfortunately, it's Apple at their worst. Apple at their best is what they're doing with the AirPods, the regular AirPods. They've kind of brought the ANC from the AirPods Pro and put them into the cheapest AirPods you can buy, which I think are fairly well priced. And as we know, most people, excuse me, most people tend to go with that option. AirPods Pro are for people who want to spend a bit more money and really. But I see more regular AirPods than I do AirPods Pro. So the fact they're kind of putting those Pro features into the regular ones I love the fact they're doing that, and the fact that the stuff they're doing with health as well. The hearing aid is such an obvious thing, and obviously it's taken them a while to get this through all of the accreditation and all the health standards and stuff. I completely understand that, but the fact they've done that now and clearly spent a lot of time on this is brilliant. That's Apple at their best. Apple at their worst is doing this kind of thing, which is just it. Well, we don't know. I mean, I put a thing out on. I mean, it was a very sort of last ditch, very. It was a big long shot basically. I put a thing out on Instagram and Twitter saying, if on the off chance anyone from the AirPods Max team who can talk about this stuff at a PR level wants to give their side of the story to this, let me know. I'd love to interview you, because everything is made. Every decision in business is made for a reason. They'll have made this decision for a reason, whatever that is. But it would be nice to hear their side of it. That will never happen. I'll never hear back from that. But I can only ask, because it's genuinely baffling, this decision. I do not understand it. It feels very mean. It feels very a complete lack of. It's just a complete lack of understanding about what the market wants and what the people who buy AirPods Max want, possibly, or maybe loads of people are buying them and no one cares. Maybe that's the thing.
It's just quite a niche product. I imagine they sell far fewer AirPods Max than they do AirPods, so it makes sense to invest the resource in making a better, normal, accessible AirPod, which they've done. Because the AirPods 4, they're 129 quid. I think they're the true wireless earbuds to beat now. Although they've taken the cable out of the box, you don't get a USB. You can charge the charging case with USB-C, but you don't get a cable in the box.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was mentioned on the keynote, but I think a lot of people missed this. Is that the AirPods 4 with ANC, so the 50 quid, was it 50 quid more expensive? 169, 179 quid.
50 quid more, I think.
Yeah. So the AirPods 4 with the ANC, the charging case is MagSafe on that, which is quite a nice touch. So that's quite nice. So I think you're getting quite a lot for your 50 quid step up. Until you factor in that, then, I mean, if you've already spent 50 quid, then you might as well go up to the 219 or whatever it is for the AirPods Pro, which, they haven't refreshed, bar this hearing aid thing, which we had a conversation about this on an episode several years ago, where we're like, well, the transparency mode is so good. All they need to do is, and they've got the algorithms for dialogue enhancement, which is sort of rolled out to Apple TVs and stuff. It's like, well, if you take that transparency mode and the enhanced dialogue clarity, and you make it one louder, and you've got the most beautiful hearing aid there is on the market. So I don't know if you know anyone with like, the proper medical hearing aids. They're horrible.
Yeah, they look horrible. I don't know what they sound like, obviously, but
I can feedback and all sorts of things. I think for mild hearing impairment, I don't think obviously the more expensive, the proper medical grade ones that are designed to deal with more serious hearing loss. But I think it's a viable option now for a lot of folks who struggle with their hearing.
And it's really clever. It's another example of Apple keeping something attached to you for as long as possible. You have to. If that's the case, you're going to want to keep them in for long periods throughout the day, aren't you? Which means you need an iPhone, and then you get used to using Apple Music and Apple Podcasts, etc. It's a brilliant ecosystem tie-in. But yeah, I love what they've done with the AirPods 4. I'm getting the AirPods 4 ANC version into review, because I've not really touched the regular AirPods for years, to be honest. I've always been the AirPods Pro user, really, and I think I should give them their due, given the price, and just to see what they're like compared to the AirPods Pro.
Yeah. Well, it'd be a good option for a lot of people, I think, who don't get on with the silicone tips. So I know a lot of people that just like, I can't deal. I don't like the way it feels. It's I don't like that sort of underwater swimming effect, even though it's the least worst, underwater effect because of the ANC and all of that with AirPods Pro 2. Some people still, they just can't get on with it. So that the smooth, just ergonomic sits in your ear without going right in. I think that's going to be a nice option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, on the subject of rubbish updates, right? So the AirPods Max, waste of time. We didn't get a new AirPods Pro, but they did introduce a new feature which will be a benefit to a lot of people. There was no Apple Watch Ultra update, except it now comes in black.
No, although I'm less bothered about this is a selfish thing, but I think if there had been one, that would have caused me quite a problem, because if it was a significant update to the Ultra, I'd have had to cover that and the regular Apple Watch. And because they haven't done that with the Ultra, although the black version does look quite nice, it's not enough for me to get one. It's kind of it's drawn me to the Series 10, which looks really interesting, I think. And I've not had a regular Apple Watch since, well, whatever it was before would it be the Series 8 that I had, I think, before the Ultra, a little while ago. So I'm very, very excited to get that on my wrist and give it a proper go.
Yeah. Well, so I've got a jet black Series 10 on the way. So I've been using I think I've still got a Series 7, but it's a stainless steel one that I got for the same price as a normal watch. So I think, 400 quid is about my limit to spend on a smartwatch, I think. So the thing that I like about the stainless steel one is its shininess. It looks nice. And whenever I stumble across my drawer full of old Apple Watches, I'm always taken by how light the aluminium ones are, but I don't like that sandblasted finish now. So the fact that I can get the thinnest, lightest, biggest Apple Watch for 429 quid or whatever it is, seems like a reasonable deal to me. So whereas normally I would probably wait until I can get one for 50p, I'm actually quite excited about that, because I do look over at Mrs. Rob's Apple Watch Ultra enviously of that really big display. It's a really nice thing, but I don't like the rest of it. It's a bit too chunky for me. I quite like the regular Apple Watch look. So that just ticks all the boxes for me.
Yeah, and it's got a bigger display than the Ultra. It's got the biggest display, hasn't it? So even the Ultra doesn't have that size display. It does make you wonder what they'll do with the Ultra maybe next year. That would be quite interesting. But I'm really looking for. I've got the same as you. I've got the black version on the way as well. So I'm very excited to give it a go.
The only thing I'm annoyed about with the Series 10 is this media playback via the speaker. I'm not up for that at all, because you're just going to have oiks wandering around being antisocial. Yeah,
there is that, isn't there? I'd forgotten that you can do that. When they said, and now you can play music through it, I thought, well, couldn't you do that before? But no, obviously you couldn't. You could take phone calls, couldn't you? Not many people do that, thankfully. That is annoying. But we don't want that, do we? We don't want people walking down there, because people do that already with their phones, don't they? Which I've never understood. I don't want to hear what you're listening to, mate. Just put your earpods in. Just shut up. So Apple Watch, not a massive update, but an interesting one when it comes to the Series 10. iPhone. Where do we start there?
Well, I just want to quickly cover things that we didn't see. Just get that out of the way. So there were no new HomePods. So still no HomePod with a display. Maybe we'll see that in the October event with the M4 All the Things event. No new Apple TVs. And again, you think with all this sort of Apple Intelligence stuff, they would want to put out a beefier Apple TV. And I have noticed, actually, and it's probably just because I'm running the beta, but I've got the tvOS 18 beta running on my Apple TV, and it is starting to get a bit clunky. I don't know if you've found that with your Apple TV 4K.
Now you've said that, it does some weird stuff occasionally.
The transitions aren't quite as smooth. Yeah. So, I'd quite like to see a beefed up Apple TV at some point. Fine woven seems to have died a death, which is good, because it was dreadful. I don't think anyone liked fine woven. With the except that you can still get a couple of the wallets are still available, probably because they haven't sold them and they just need to get rid of them. And the magnetic link watch band you can still get in fine woven. But the cases, they're dead. Not a bad thing. But that was it. But so iPhones. It's a solid update, I think.
I think the regular iPhone 16 is the biggest solid update, personally.
Okay.
I love the fact it's got so much from the pros now, and the fact they didn't just put the what's it called, the camera control.
It's called camera control. Yeah.
Camera control.
Yeah, don't call it a shutter button. They don't like that.
Oh, they don't want that, do they? The fact they didn't make the decision to put the camera control just on the pros, which the Apple from 2 or 3 years ago may have done. Again, this is Apple at its best, kind of putting this stuff throughout the entire lineup. The fact they've put that on the 16 as well. Happy days. Very, very happy about that.
Oh, apologies for the background noise. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm having some work done.
I can barely hear it. Yeah, that was one other thing I was going to hopefully. We were expecting to apologise about. Apologise about on this podcast because it was. But it hasn't. I've not heard anything. It's been very.
It's not been too bad, but yeah, there's some drilling and stuff. I'm having some honking great big bifold doors installed. Downstairs. So it was supposed to have been finished on Wednesday, but
they look very nice as well in the photo. Well, they look halfway through being put in, but they do look very nice.
Oh, it's transformed that room downstairs. It's now a proper garden room. We've always referred to it as the garden room because it's the room immediately adjacent to the garden, but now it's just wall-to-wall glass. It's lovely.
Awesome. Back to the iPhone 16 though.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I think that's a brilliant phone for most people. No, it hasn't got a ProMotion display, which is getting pretty hard to justify now when every other phone that I've ever tested over the last 2 years has a 120 hertz, proper buttery smooth display. The iPhone 16 not having that is naughty, I think. But do people care? Do regular consumers care? Probably not.
I think once you've had 90 hertz or above, it's difficult to go back.
I think the thing is what Apple plays on with this is that most people who buy the regular iPhone have never experienced that because they've just had they've had the 13, they've had the 15, they've had the 16, whatever. They've never experienced that.
I think it's an artificial limit. I reckon they're putting the same display in both the regular and the. I'll tell you why. Oh no, are they? I don't think they are because the Pros now are ever so slightly bigger, aren't they?
Yeah, they are OLED as well, aren't they? Oh, no, they're all OLED,
I mean, you look at the spec sheet, like they've got the same sort of peak brightness, the same HDR brightness, the same outdoor brightness. They can, both the regular 16s and the Pros can go down to 1 nit. And they've got so I'm like,
is it the same?
Because, okay, right, let's back up. Let's just cover what you get on both, right? So across the board, and people might have missed this, is that wired charging is now 45 watts, which is good.
Yep.
Because I think it topped out at 27 before, so that's pretty good. I think that's even more than other equivalent flagship phones. I forget what the maximum wired charging speed is on the Pixel 9 series, but I'm pretty sure it's not 45.
Not sure.
It's Wi-Fi 7 across the board. You've got spatial video across the board, although it is capped at 1080p. But then I don't know who's got the hardware to review that. Who's going to be taking the spatial video and who's actually got a Vision Pro so they can watch it back? Well, you have, yeah. Have you taken any yet?
No.
No, yeah.
I did. No, beg your pardon. I did when I did my test, my initial review of the. I think I did it on the video, live on the video, for the Vision Pro. But since then, nothing.
Yeah, and then they've all got 8 gigs of RAM across the board, which is interesting. So I get why the regular 16s would need to have 8, because you're going to need some serious RAM to do all of the AI stuff, the Apple Intelligence stuff. But again, you look at recent flagships that are really pushing the AI stuff. They've got 16 gigs of RAM. So the Pixel 9, they've by and large got 16, I believe. Is that right?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. And then you've got the new camera control thingy. So I looked again. I think I did this last year, where I was like, could I go back to iPhone for Peasants edition, and I don't think I can. So you've got a slightly smaller display. You lose the always on display, which I quite like.
Oh yeah, that's not on that one.
It's not on it, even though all of the other, as I say, all of the other specifications are identical. So they could give it an always on display if they wanted to. I think you lose the periscopy 5x.
Yeah, that's a big miss.
Which has become my favourite lens. Have I shown you any of the photos? Hang on, let me see if I can do this. Again, we're live. I don't know what I'm doing.
Anything can happen.
Right, bear with 1 sec. Let me see.
5x is game changing though. If people haven't tried it yet, it has to be. We have to kind of note that is optical 5x, not digital zoom because digital zoom's horrendous.
Right. Can you see what I'm seeing?
I can. That doesn't look like 5x though.
No, it's not. Right. So I was sitting there. Right.
Okay.
This is just some sort of climbing frame thingy at a local playground, and then using the 5x, I took that.
Amazing. Yep.
I would genuinely miss that capability. But
Yep.
so you've got the sort of bonkers. You can just take nice photos from really far away, but also if you're really close, then you get really nice portraits as well out of it.
Yeah, nice compression and bokeh.
Yeah. So yeah, moral of the story is I think I would really miss that 5x.
Yeah. 100%. But again, the people who are buying these phones haven't had that, and they'll just zoom in optically, digitally, and not even think about it. But it would be a weird switch, wouldn't it, to go from a Pro or a Pro Max down to the regular? I bet very, very few people have ever done that. Once you're in, really, aren't you?
I think you are. So the 16 Pro Max has now got 48 megapixel ultra wide, and consequently 48 megapixel macro, because it uses the ultra wide for the macro photography. I think I would enjoy that. You lose the LiDAR, which gets you more accurate portrait shots, and is also you can use it for 3D scanning. So I'm like, and I've been saying I'm going to do it for years now, but I'm actually really very close to signing paperwork and things to get my garage converted so I can get out of this broom cupboard and lose the green screen and stuff. But yeah, so using LiDAR either to scan small objects and create quick and dirty 3D models, that is super fun. Have you ever fired up Polycam?
I haven't, no, but I should do.
So yeah, well, for those who don't know, if you've got a Pro phone with the LiDAR, there's an app called Polycam where you just press the button and then you move your phone around the thing you're trying to scan, like something you made out of Lego or whatever, and then it'll just texture map and build you a 3D model of that physical thing that you have in front of you. Very, very cool. The regular 16s have got a lower quality optical image stabilization system, so you get better optical hardware optical image stabilization on the Pros. You don't get a true tone flash. Obviously you don't get ProRAW, ProRes, log, etc., but then normal people aren't going to need that. The mics are allegedly better on these new Pros, aren't they? Like a 4 mic studio quality array, which, to be fair, when you use the studio quality mics for your live streams, and it's fine.
It's fine. That's what this is. This is for the audio, but as in the audio version of the podcast. But what people are hearing on the live stream is the MacBook Pro.
Yeah. And then there's the USB 2 transfer speeds. So the USB ports on the regular 16s is still USB 2 speed, so it will take forever to get anything off it. Whereas the Pros, you can transfer at 10 gigabits per second. But who's actually plugging their phone in when you've got when you've got any photos and videos that you've taken? By the time you get back to your computer or the other your iPad or whatever device you want to edit that stuff on, it's already there because it's just beamed over on the iCloud, and if it hasn't, then you can airdrop it, and that's pretty quick as well. So I don't know how much that is a concern. I also don't really think that the Dobbly 4K 120 hertz, I don't think anyone's going to miss that. I would give it a go if I get a 16 Pro Max. I'll probably try it once and then never do it again. It's very niche edge case, because I don't know about you, but I don't find myself shooting a music video for the weekend all that often these days.
No, in a multi-million-dollar studio with fake rain and top-end lighting and top-end videographers, that's not a regular day for me at all. It's going to look good, isn't it? Any phone's going to look good in that situation.
So, but so I looked at it. I was like, look, could I go to an iPhone 16 Plus? And I think the answer is no for the reasons outlined above. It's mostly that 5X, which is just a lovely thing.
I agree. Completely agree.
Well, the other weird thing, if you look at the specs, and I can't quite get my head around why this is, the 16 Pros, all of the quoted battery life is 4 to 5 hours greater than that of the regular one.
Right. Okay.
I mean, they both got OLED displays. They both got A18 chips on the latest 3 nanometer fabrication process. Why is that? I mean, they did talk about some sort of new battery technology, and they've got like a new recycled aluminium heat dissipation thing. But yeah, so the Pro has got, you know, your ProMotion 120 hertz and always on display, yet still manages to return 4 to 5 hours greater battery life than the 16, which is capped at 60 hertz, and doesn't have an always on display. I can't get my head around it.
Weird. But you're getting a lot with the Pros, basically, because a lot of that stuff that you've just reeled off, it's not immediately obvious at all. I think it's easy to assume that with the Pro you just get a better camera system, bit bigger and better display, and that's pretty much it. But all those things, it adds up to quite a lot. But it does illustrate that, because most of that stuff, like you say, normal users of the iPhone aren't really going to be bothered about any of that, I don't think, or very little of it. It's not regular stuff, is it really? So you do to go for the Pro or the Pro Max. I think it's quite a unique set of iPhone users these days. There's a lot of people who either you just want the best you can get, or you're using that thing creatively. Using it for videography and. Or now you can use it for recording your album, can't you? Because you can just sing into the Notes app, and not the Notes app, the voice recorder.
Well, you've always been able to do that. It's like, what's the really famous song from ages ago that used a drum loop out of GarageBand? The Rihanna, Umbrella.
Rihanna, yeah, Pitch Down. Yeah, I found it once and tried it and thought, oh, well, I've just made a Rihanna track.
It's like the Jazz Kit 3 or something.
I love those stories. Someone's just found that and thought, I'll just use that.
So you for a long time you've been able to make a global smash hit with your iPhone. Well, as long as you've got Rihanna singing on it.
But now you can isolate the vocal, can't you? And if you're playing guitar or piano or something in the background, you can just take the vocal out.
Yeah.
And what was again, I don't know how many people are going to be using this, but did you see the feature where if you're shooting like a scene in a busy bar or something, and you've got a couple of people talking, and you're shooting it with your iPhone 16 Pro Max?
Oh yeah, you can like change the mix, can't you?
Yeah, you can change the mix. So you can bring the vocals forward I think they called it cinema, didn't they, or something, and then you can isolate them and cut off most of the room noise. And there was another one that you could do something with. Really clever stuff. I just don't know how many people are going to bother with that, really. Are people using their iPhones to that extent?
I think for me, while my kids are still kids, Tim's got me over a barrel. I think I will always have to go for the Pro Max, because what I want is the most reliable camera that you happen to be able to make phone calls on. That's what I need at this time of my life.
That's fair enough. I completely agree. You can shoot your kids at 120 frames a second.
Yeah. I'm annoyed that it's this year's one. They made a big thing about how they'd slimmed down, with the change to titanium, bit thinner, and they got it down to 221 grams. The Pro Max, didn't they? The 15 Pro Max. This year's one is 6 grams heavier.
It's gone back up.
It's gone back up. Again. So they slimmed it down and it's gained weight again. Although it's still lighter than the S24 Ultra, which is 232, if I recall correctly, 231. So anyway, there or thereabouts. But what is interesting, what I remember looking at when I was watching the event, I thought, right, okay, that camera control, how are the third-party case manufacturers going to deal with that? Because the official ones have got, what do they say? It's like a sapphire crystal in there to allow the signal to be transmitted correctly. Now, not everyone's going to do that, are they? So I went and had a look. At some of the third-party cases. Have you seen? You're familiar with Otterbox, the rugged cases?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they're brilliant cases. I'm not knocking. I've got no beef with Otterbox at all. However, their iPhone 16 cases, they're the rugged case. I'll put a picture on the show notes there. Has got a honking great cutout. It looks ridiculous. So you've got this beefy case that will allow your iPhone to survive the apocalypse, except the camera control. That's going to get broken because there's a big hole in the case.
I suppose, in fairness to them, how else can you kind of contend with that? Because you've got to be able to run your finger along it, haven't you? And a lot of cases could make that quite tricky to do. They could impede that kind of runny finger thing. Yeah. It's a tricky thing for case manufacturers to get around, I think.
Have you got much in the way of sponsorship interest? Because normally in iPhone season, I imagine you'd have case manufacturers just knocking the door down. Is that less this year?
No, it's the same. That's good.
It's the
That's a good
same.
question. But yeah, it's pretty much the same. We've got 2 or 3, I think, which we'll be featuring. One of them I think we have got here, along with a fake iPhone 16, but it's not to hand. But I've not looked at it yet. But it's yeah, no, they'll always find a way around it because it's such a big market.
Do you know if any of them have got a pass-through finger strip?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think most of them have taken that route of just having a cutout where you can squeeze your finger onto it and away you go.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to get the official Apple cases anyway because I find that they last longer. So I've got on my 15, I've got this clear one. It's been dropped. It's not. I mean, I don't mistreat my phone, but just life happens, doesn't it? And it's still looking perfect. And Mrs. Rob's got a silicone one that just doesn't seem to age. So complete. And apart from the leather ones that they used to do and the fine woven ones that came next, those just don't wear very well at all in my experience. But yeah, the silicone ones and the polycarbonate ones are really nice. Actually, on the subject of polycarbonate ones, I really like the look of those Beats designed cases.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I'm hoping to get my hands on a couple of those. But yeah, they look really nice, don't they?
My only problem with that is it's got a chin cutout.
It has.
Whereas the silicone ones are full coverage.
I don't mind a chin cutout, you see. I've got used to that with other cases.
Yeah, no, it just winds me up. I don't like that. So yeah, so long story short, if I were going to get an iPhone 16 Pro Max, I'd get an official silicone case because I don't want to have a big hole in the side. I just find that they wear better. What else is exciting about the iPhone? Oh, the new MagSafe charging puck can wirelessly charge up to 25 watts, which again is one-upping the Pixel, which I think the regular Pixel 9 tops out at 15 watts wireless charging, and then the Pro normal size tops out at 21 watts, and then the XL can do 23 watts with the Pixel wireless charging stand thingy. So yeah, there's a lot of being just
one-upmanship.
Yeah, but it's kind of hidden in the specs.
Yeah. At least it's there. At least it's faster charging. That's the main thing. Are you going to get one? Are you going to get an iPhone 16 Pro Max?
Well, I thought I'd talk to you first. So I've pre-filled out all of so I'm ready. I could smash that checkout button, but I'll wait and see how I feel at.
You got 2 hours.
59. I've got 2 hours to make my mind up. So the thing that's holding me back is the fact that I just spunk 1,200 quid on a Magic V3. That's the main issue, which I should have had today.
Okay.
So the pre-orders, I ordered it within an hour of it going live. I was one of the first 500 orders, and I know this because I've got the early bird pre-order bundle where you get some Bang & Olufsen HX headphones and all of that sort of stuff, which if you go to try and buy one now, you wouldn't get that. So yes, I know I was one of the first 500 orders, and they sent me an email the other day saying, sorry, we've had a delay. It's not coming till the 26th of September now.
Oh,
so I ordered it. So whenever the pre-order was like the 5th or the 6th of September, I think. It was going to take them 3 weeks to get it to me, but I could order an iPhone 16 today, and it'd be here on the 20th potentially. I mean, historically, I've never managed to get an iPhone on launch day. I don't know what my problem is, but I can have the Apple Store up on Mac, on the phone, on the iPad, and just mashing refresh, and whichever one gets in first, you go through and you complete it. But I just always seem to get hit with timeouts, and I think so. Last year, I didn't get my 15 Pro Max till the middle of October or towards the end of October. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So we're getting the 16 and 16 and the 16 Pro Max. First time I'm covering the regular one, but I think I need to, given the type of phone it is, and yeah, I'm ready to go. 2 hours time, I'll be mashing the button. I won't say anything but touch wood. Normally, things have been okay with the pre-orders. But
I seem to everything else I seem to get on or before launch day. I remember that time I got an Apple TV 4K the day before it was supposed to be available.
It is tough for the iPhone. So the iPhone is such a rush.
I always seem to lose the iPhone launch day lottery.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to getting my hands on them. I think that they're interesting phones. I think I think the big thing is Apple Intelligence, which we won't see until in the UK until December. I think they revealed it's going to be December for. In fact, it says that on the website now, doesn't it? Coming December.
Wow. So have we seen visual intelligence before? I'm pretty sure this was the first time that this was mentioned, which is just Google Lens, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Which it's exactly that, isn't it? Or it's similar to Circle to Search as well. It's got those vibes as well.
But I don't know whether we'll get that out, whether that's a US thing. I mean, again, that's another thing that will not be available. But yeah, so the whole point of visual intelligence is you can press the button, point it at something, ask it a question, and then it'll give you an answer.
Yeah,
which is quite cool, I think.
Yeah.
But the first thing that everyone's going to do is, hey Siri, how long is this?
I'm not doing that in the video.
Hey,
what did you say? I spoke over Siri then.
Hang on, let me turn it up. Let's try that joke again. you ruined it.
Ruined it.
Oh. Turn the volume up. Hey Siri, how big is this?
It's the biggest I've ever seen.
That's still not coming out loud. Hang on.
It's the biggest I've ever seen. Yeah, brilliant. Oh dear. At least we can laugh at Siri with their answers. Yeah. What a way to finish the recap of the Apple event, as always. Is that everything for the Apple event? It is, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there's been lots of bad press about it and all sorts. It wasn't that. I think, for me, the AirPods Max thing is fairly unforgivable, unless we get a decent explanation from Apple, which we'll probably never hear. But apart from that, it was all right. I'm excited about what's in the post. There's some really interesting products on the way, and I'm looking forward to covering them. So I'm not down on it like a lot of people, apart from AirPods Max. But selfishly, that has been an incredibly popular video on my channel, so I'm not complaining about that either. And I am getting a pair of those AirPods Max, because I know this won't be the case, but there's an element, a tiny little element of me that thinks, I wonder if they've just quietly changed the sound profile, done something that's made it a little bit better. We know that's not the case, but it will make for an interesting unboxing video, hopefully. And I get to throw a new case around rather than this one that's been thrown around 8,000 times. We are reaching the end of the live stream, and I think there's a lot of stuff on this list, but because it's a live stream, the whole point really is to get people asking questions and stuff. Is there anything else on the list that you wanted to mention quickly, Rob, before we quickly...
I could rattle through the other tech news. So Bang & Olufsen have released an H100. So I've got the H95s that I really like. They've released the H100. Have you seen these?
I have, yeah. And if anyone from Bang & Olufsen is listening to this, again, just let us know, because people keep asking for these headphones to be reviewed, and we've never heard from you, and you're the missing piece of the jigsaw. So please get in touch.
Yeah, but they cost £1,299.
Which is why I'm not buying a pair.
Yes, well, same. Very silly, but I'll put a link in the show notes if anyone wants to go and laugh at those. We talked about the DJI Neo already. Did you say you've got one, or you're getting one?
Probably will get one, I think.
Yeah. I think anyone thinking about buying one should probably stump up the extra 50 quid for the Fly More. That's the general rule, isn't it? With buying DJI, anything, get the Fly More package.
Yeah.
There's the news about WhatsApp sort of turning into beeper. You heard about that? So you'll be able to pull in all of your third-party chats and do it all from WhatsApp, which is quite good, because I think the WhatsApp client on iPhone is very good, I think.
Yes, yeah.
It's less good on Android, as we've discussed before. But yeah, I think there's some sort of EU situation that they're trying to get ahead of, where I think it might be a requirement that you have to have some sort of universal messaging, open interoperability, yada yada yada. So yeah, you'll be able to have your RCS and other. So yeah, you'll be able to have WhatsApp, Messenger, other stuff, but probably not iMessage. But yeah, most messaging stuff all within WhatsApp at some point. So I think they've got it on beta at the moment. Then there's the new Reader app. Have you ever used the Reader RSS feed app?
A long time ago, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're still visiting websites, actually no, I mean, you will be massively against this because you want people to visit your website because of the ad revenue and affiliate links and all that sort of
Yes,
stuff.
never use Reader.
But for everyone else, I consume most of the reason I come across all of this wacky stuff is because I've just got hundreds of feeds going into a feed reader, and then I can skim through, and then I stumble across fun stuff. But they've the new reader has been supercharged, so there's a universal timeline, so you can pull in podcasts, YouTube videos, just all of the streams that you would normally go to different places. You can pull all of your things that you like to watch, listen to, or read all into one timelines. That's at readerapp.com. I'll put a link in the show notes to that. It's a very similar concept to Tapestry, which I've talked about before, which I backed on Kickstarter. So Tapestry is essentially the same thing, but it's not finished yet. So I'm testing it because I gave them some money, and that's from the Iconfactory, a sort of long-standing quality Mac developer responsible for Twitterific amongst other things back in the day. And then, of course, there's all the furore about the PS5 Pro being 700 quid, which has upset a lot of people. And that's without a disk drive or stand. So if you want a stand, that's another 25 quid. If you want a disk drive, that's another 100 quid. So you're on the hook for north of 900 quid if you want a PS5 Pro. That's upset a lot of people.
I'm not surprised. When
you actually look at the specs and stuff, and there's been some commentary from your Digital Foundry, those kind of guys who really know what they're talking about. It's sort of RTX 4070 PC equivalent. You'll be spending 1,250 quid plus if you wanted to build a computer. So it still fulfills. I mean, yes, once you get over the sticker shock and you start thinking about it logically, it's like, well, if I wanted to build a PC that could meet or exceed the performance of the PS5 Pro, I'd be spending 50% more, which has always been the case with consoles, isn't it? The whole point of the consoles was that you could get near PC, decent PC performance for less money. Still the case with the PS5 Pro, I think.
Yeah, and it's easy it's just so you plug it in and it works. You don't have to build it and use Windows either, which is nice.
Okay. So but that's it. That's all the other news I had. But did anyone have anything they wanted to ask?
Yeah, we haven't had a huge number of people on, but the people that have come on, thank you very much. I don't know, are there any questions on here? Alan, it says, how many, sorry if I came on halfway through. No need to be sorry at all, Alan. Do you think Apple Intelligence will work on the iPhone 15? It will, won't it? I think I don't think they've released the compatibility list yet, have they? But they did reference. There was one point during the thing on Monday where they said something like Apple Intelligence will run X% faster on the iPhone 16 because of the chip, the A18. So clearly it is going to work on the iPhone 15, but it might be a bit slower, whatever that means. But I don't think we know how far it's going to go back yet. Maybe we do. Maybe I haven't seen that, but it will stop. It will stop somewhere. In fact, Doc says, as someone who's been on the iOS 18 beta on my 15, I can confirm that the features work great so far. Good. There you go. Have we got any other questions? Any other comments? This is interesting. So Doc says the reason they call it, he's heard that the reason they call it the camera control is the aspect of it being available to third-party apps for controlling cameras. So things like Snapchat. Is it Halide? How do you pronounce that?
I've only ever seen it written down. I think it's Halide, isn't it?
Halide, Instagram, etc. But camera. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes total sense. That's most of them, really. Anything else in here? Jakob's saying that the H100 looked great apart from the price tag. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that is most of the comments. But thanks, guys, for jumping on this very first and very scratchy live stream. We may have to change the time. We'll see. But yeah, I think we're done, Rob. I think we've covered everything.
Well, we always need to end on the silly thing.
Let's do that. Yep.
So the most exciting iPhone news this week is that Flappy Bird is making a return to the Apple Store. So the original developer, we all remember the Flappy Bird. It was a viral sensation about 10 years ago, and then it just stressed out the original developer because he was just getting hounded by the press for interviews, and he was making $50,000 a day, and he couldn't hack it, so he just deleted it. But it turns out now he's sold all the IP to some new developers who are bringing it back. So you can find out what's going on there at flappybird.org.
What a lovely way to finish. What a lovely thing to finish on. I'll do that now. Thanks, Rob.
No worries.
Couldn't hear any construction work at all, so it was fine.
Oh, good.
Happy days. And thanks for tuning in to the 5. It got up to 10, I think, at one point, which is quite
Wow.
impressive.
Nice.
Very impressive. There's 5 still remaining. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
See ya.